Okay, so we are on our last chapter of Fox Investigates, A Whiff of Mystery. This is the chapter called Enter the Dragon. As Wiley was rummaging through his pockets, he had found the pair of earplugs he'd been given on the airplane. The moment the skunks turned their backs, he whipped them out and stuck them up his nose, one in each nostril. Immediately, his mind cleared and he snapped back to reality. He could hear the skunks hauling themselves up the rope into the Forbidden City. But he kept staring straight ahead, pretending to be in a trance. As soon as they were out of the room, Wiley leaped to his feet. He shook Albert. There was no response. He shook Sybil. She just stared into space and dribbled. He grabbed Sybil's police radio. Julius! Wiley? Call an ambulance and get to the sewer beneath the Forbidden City. The sewer? What are you up to? Just do it and send your officers to the Forbidden City itself. It's an emergency. But the Forbidden City, it'll take us half an hour to get there. As quickly as possible then. Meanwhile, I'll do what I can. Wiley scrambled up the rope and into the Forbidden City. He was in a side chamber in the eastern wing of the Emperor's old palace. All the lights were off, but he could still see mirrors glinting on the walls and chandeliers twinkling on the ceilings. Wiley breathed in and then remembered he had earplugs in his nostrils. Should he take them out? No, too risky. He'd have to forget his sense of smell and use his eyes and ears instead. Wiley listened and heard a scuffling sound in the room straight ahead. He darted forward and poked his head around the door. He could see a narrow balcony overlooking a large interior courtyard. The balcony was full of outfits and trinkets celebrating the Year of the Dragon. There were flags, banners, dragon costumes, drums, cymbals, and more. Down in the courtyard, Duncan and the skunks were prying open a cabinet that contained the world's largest emerald. Wiley listened. We're going to get caught, boss. I know we are, gibbered Sam. No, we're not, snapped Duncan. I'm going to spray, stammered Sam. Spray all you like, said Duncan. So Sam ejected a puff of white fizzy liquid out of his bottom. Duncan pulled out his bottle of Utopia and poured a couple of drops onto the ground. All gone, he said. Why were you so nervous anyway? Asked Simon. All the guards are gone. It's the ghost, okay? It's the ghost, exclaimed Sam. What ghost? The ghost of the Jade Dragon. Everybody knows it protects the Beijing Emerald. Maybe we shouldn't steal it after all. Duncan glanced at the emerald. There are no such things as ghosts, he hissed. Yes, there are, said Sam. After my great-great-grandmother died, she came back to me in the form of a wasp and stung me on the knee. That was just a wasp, said Duncan, wrenching the front off the cabinet and grabbing the jewel. Yeah, that was just a wasp, said Simon, but now he looked frightened. Duncan put the emerald into a sack and moved on to the next cabinet. Please put it back, said Sam. Let's steal something else instead. There are lots of other jewels here. We're going to steal those too, said Duncan. We're going to take everything. Wiley moved silently to the other side of the balcony as Duncan started to crowbar the front off another cabinet. He had to stop them. By the time Julius arrived, Duncan and the skunks would have taken everything in the Forbidden City and vanished. What could he do? There were 3 of them, and Duncan had a heavy crowbar. He also wasn't sure how good the earplugs were. They were protecting him from Utopia and skunk spray up on the balcony. But what about at close range? Wiley closed his eyes, desperately trying to think of a solution. The dragon's ghost is here. I can sense it, Sam stammered. I'm going to spray again. And then Wiley had an idea. He began rummaging through the trinkets on the balcony. Behind him was a huge papier-mâché dragon costume, complete with bulging eyes, flappy mouth, and a long tail. If one of the skunks was scared of a dragon ghost, perhaps Wiley could take advantage of it. But that wasn't all. Wiley was still in his baggy red costume. Strapped to his back was a fire eater's torch. If he positioned everything correctly, maybe his dragon could breathe fire too. He looked around for other props. Drums, cymbals, they could be useful. He picked up a wastebasket from the corner of the room, emptied it, and knocked out the bottom. Now he had a megaphone. In less than a minute, Wiley was inside the dragon costume, holding the torch in front of his mouth. He held the megaphone in his other hand and attached the cymbals to his knees. The skunks had opened a second cabinet, and Duncan had removed the jewel, a giant diamond. This was Wiley's chance. He shouted through his megaphone, "Who dares remove my treasure?" Sam Skunk immediately sprayed, yelling, I told you, it's the ghost, it's the ghost." "Don't be ridiculous," said Duncan. "We must have missed one of the guards. Come out, wherever you are." He held up his crowbar and the bottle of Utopia. "I am one of the guards," said Wiley, and he brought his legs together, making the cymbals clash. "I guard the Beijing Emerald, and I protect it with fire." He leaped down from the balcony, the dragon's tail snaking behind him. We're actually going to stop right there because this chapter is a little longer than I anticipated. Tune in tomorrow and we'll finish it. Have a good day.